you might be eating zombie food. It's kind of cool. Hello, my name is Shawn, and I'm the editor at ScrewyMonkey.com. And today we're going to look at 9 shocking secrets of all-you-can-eat buffets. Who doesn't love an all-you-can-eat buffet? I know I do. You go in, you spend $20 or $30, and you have an unlimited amount of food to choose from. I mean, you can easily eat $200, $300, $400, $500 worth of food, right, for this 20 bucks? I mean, how is it they can stay in business? I'll tell you how they stay in business. Buffets have some pretty shocking secrets to make sure you can never actually eat your money's worth. Our first shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: almost everything comes from a can or is frozen. I know this doesn't shock anybody, really. I mean, I think if you're going to a buffet, you pretty much expect a lot of canned goods. It is just part of the business model. One of the reasons for this, though, is it saves the buffet owners a tremendous amount of labor. If you had to make 50 or 60 dishes, have them all done at once on the buffet line and ready to go, plus backups for all those all the way around, your only chance to get that done is going to be if almost everything comes from a can. Even things they make there, usually the raw ingredients are going to start out frozen or from a can. That is the first secret of all-you-can-eat buffets. Our number 2 secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: cheap meats and potentially toxic seafood. See, buffets, they need to put out a lot of food, like we've already said, and they need to do it at the lowest possible cost, and it also has to be delicious. One of the ways they accomplish this is by buying incredibly cheap, tough cuts of meat, sometimes meat scraps, and then putting them together, cooking them for a very, very, very long time, and producing fabulous tasting dishes. If you've ever noticed a plethora of things like beef brisket or pulled pork or stews at your buffet, chances are those are all made from pretty tough, pretty lesser grade meats that have been cooked for a very long time to make them delicious. There is nothing wrong with this. I mean, home cooks have been doing it for years in order to save money. You go out, you buy yourself a really, really tough brisket or roast or something like that, and you cook it forever with some vegetables and yummy spices, and the next thing you know, you have a delicious, hearty dish. It's the same thing for buffets. I don't have a problem with this. It's good. What I do have a problem with, though, is potentially toxic seafood. Buffets know you're going to come there for the seafood. They know that that's how you're going to try to eat your money's worth. You're going to eat a bunch of that stuff. They need to find a way to get it there and have it for you in abundance and do it at the lowest possible cost. One of the ways they do this is by buying, let's just say, fish that maybe you wouldn't actually buy for yourself in the supermarket. There's this buffet in Las Vegas, and it's off the strip, it's not on the strip, and they serve these really beautiful little rosettes of fish on the buffet line. Gorgeous, really, really gorgeous looking fish. The problem is that they're made with swai. Swai is a catfish-like fish that is a bottom feeder, just like catfish is, and would probably be okay, except most swai comes from places like Vietnam and China, and it's imported from these countries where it is grown usually in conditions that are less than sanitary, sometimes near factories, sometimes where, because they're bottom feeders, they ingest all of the toxins in the water. And for this reason, a lot of restaurants won't actually buy this fish and they won't serve it. But buffets, because they know there's an abundance of it and it's cheap because no one else wants it, will buy it and put it on the buffet and just count on you not really knowing what it is other than it's fish. So I would say the next time you go to the buffet, what you're going to want to do is maybe Google the name of the fish that you're eating. And by all means, if it just says like fish rosettes, probably wouldn't eat it. The secrets 3 through 5 are all about how buffets manipulate you to make sure that they control your serving size. They want to know that you're not taking too much of the expensive food. They want to make sure that you're not eating too much and that you're not taking more than you're going to eat. Our third secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: tiny dishes. Buffets know if they give you a really big plate, you're just going to load it full of this and that until it's overflowing. This would be a disaster for a buffet. There are companies out there that specialize in producing items just for the buffet industry. They call them buffetware. They produce things like dinner plates, soup bowls, that kind of thing that you use to serve yourself at a buffet. For instance, the average buffet dinner plate that you're going to be given is going to be about 20 to 40% smaller than the one you're going to use at home. Soup bowls, saucers, side plates, all those things, usually about 50% smaller than the ones that you would use at home. This makes sure that you're not going to load that plate too full of too many things, and make sure that the buffet stays profitable, because every single trip that you make to the buffet, you're going to take less food. Also, psychologically, you're going to say, oh, I've made 4 trips to the buffet, I am incredibly stuffed. But in reality, each of those buffet trips, you probably were taking about half as much as you would if you'd had a standard dinner plate. This is just one more way buffets ensure you're not going to take more food than you paid for. Our fourth shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets, Willy Wonka-like serving utensils. See, buffets have figured out everything. They've figured out how to make sure that you take as much as you can of the cheap stuff and very little of the expensive stuff, and make sure that their profit margins are intact. One of the ways they accomplish this is that any of the cheaper things, let's say mashed potatoes, steamed carrots, starches and vegetables and stuff, are going to usually have humongous giant serving utensils, like big industrial kitchen spoons, so you can just pile that stuff on your plate in huge amounts. When you get to things like meats or more expensive labor intensive things, they're usually going to have very, very small serving utensils. Sometimes with meats you'll get little tiny tongs, or you might get little forks to kind of like put it on your plate. These choices are not random. They are absolutely there to make sure that you do not load up on the expensive stuff, and that you do for sure load up on the cheap carbs. So they also play this game with more expensive soups and stews. For instance, if they have an expensive soup on the line or an expensive stew on the line, they're going to put a 4 or 6 ounce ladle in it so that you take very, very little. If they have a very cheap soup on the line, maybe chicken noodle or something like that, then they're going to put an 8 or 10 ounce ladle in that, so you get much, much more of it. It's just one of the ways buffets ensure that you never actually get more than you paid for. Our fifth shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets, more meat games. See, meat's expensive. We all know it. We go to the supermarket, we buy meat, it costs a lot. And to a buffet, it is probably their biggest threat to their bottom line. They do some rather ingenious things to make sure that you really, really, really do not get that much of it when you go to the buffet. The first way they do it is through the use of carving stations. Have you ever noticed when you go to the buffet that all of the expensive meat, like whole turkeys or turkey breast, prime rib, possibly really upgraded cuts of meat, like really expensive briskets as opposed to the cheaper brisket on the buffet line, things like that? There's always some guy standing back there in a really beautiful carving station, using his knife to carve you out really thin, beautiful slices of it that you can almost read through. Well, of course the reason for this is that they want to make sure that you're not sitting there carving off half a roast and putting it on your plate. It is how they protect their profit margin. They also know that you as a customer are not going to ask for that guy back there to cut you off another piece, or cut you off a thicker piece. And they also know that psychologically, you're going to feel kind of guilty if you go more than once or twice, because you're going to think that the guy behind there is going to judge you in some way and maybe think you're a glutton. So it's just one of the ways that buffets make sure that you're not going to take too much of the really expensive meat. But it's not the only way, it turns out. One of the ways buffets make sure that you're not going to take more of their precious meat than you paid for is they're going to surround that meat with really inexpensive side dishes. They know that if you're standing there at the buffet line and you're going to take chunks of turkey breast, for instance, that you're also going to want to take stuffing and gravy and maybe some cranberry sauce and things like that. So what you're going to find is that you're going to have a very small tray of, say, the turkey breast surrounded by very large dishes of things like mashed potatoes or stuffing or gravy. So they know that you're going to sit there and pile up your tiny little plate with maybe 1 or 2 little things of meat and then huge servings of stuffing or mashed potatoes. The last little meat game that buffets like to play is that they like to cut meats, like maybe steak and things like that, into tiny, tiny little portions. They know that psychologically most people are going to take 1 or maybe 2 of whatever portion size they have on the buffet. So if they do cut a larger piece of meat into really small pieces, when you take 1 or 2 of them, you're not really taking a full serving. It's just one more of the many meat games buffets play. Our 6th shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: fresh silverware is almost never offered. Buffets make you use a new plate every single time you go up to the buffet line, and that's usually because health codes dictate that they do. Buffets also know, though, that if they can make you keep your fork, spoon, and knife throughout your entire meal, those items are going to get progressively more gross. Particularly if you've been eating something like, say, ribs, gets on your hand, that gets on your fork. When you go to grab your fork for your next dish, it might be a little sticky. They're counting on you feeling like if your silverware is gross, that maybe you've been there too long and maybe you've eaten just a little bit too much. It's just one of the ways that buffets make sure you don't stay too long and eat more food than they really want you to. Our 7th shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: drinks are used to increase profits. See, there's 2 ways this happens. One, either the buffet will not include the price of the drink in your meal, thereby forcing you to spend $2 or $3 extra for a beverage when you get there. Since most drinks have about a 95 to 99% markup, the $2 or $3 extra you spend on that drink is almost pure profit for the buffet. That's like adding $2 or $3 directly on top of the price you just paid for the buffet. It's a good deal for them, not such a good deal for you. The other way drinks are used to increase their profits are that you'll notice the drink glasses in buffets are the only dishes that are not miniature. They're either regular size or larger than regular size, because they know that if they can get you to consume several glasses of liquid, you're not going to be able to eat that much food. It's the other reason why a lot of times buffets do not decide to charge for them in the beginning, drinks that is, and they decide to go ahead and include them in the meal because they count on you drinking a lot and eating less. It's just good for their bottom line. Our 8th shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: Las Vegas buffets, they don't play by the rules. See, Las Vegas buffets, if they were standalone businesses, would almost all be bankrupt. They're not really concerned with turning a profit. It's not what they're there for. For the most part, Las Vegas buffets are just trying to outdo the buffet in the casino next door to try to get you to come into that casino to eat. Why would they do this? It's because they know that if you come to that casino to eat, and even if you eat 20 plates of crab legs and lose money when you pay your $32 for your buffet, they know that you're going to be too full to actually leave the casino, and you're probably going to stick around and you're probably going to gamble. And for the most part, they'll probably make more money off of you gambling than they would have in the buffet in the first place, so they don't really care if they make money. It's just one of the ways that Las Vegas buffets do not play by the rules. Interestingly enough, though, for a consumer, this is actually a good thing, because it means that if you're going to go have the buffet experience, you should probably do it in Vegas. Because, well, you're going to get more than your money's worth, and it's probably one of the few cases where actually going to a buffet makes perfectly good sense. Our 9th shocking secret of all-you-can-eat buffets: zombie food. Now, zombie food does not refer to, food that's dead that gets up and lives again, or it doesn't involve like feeding zombies that might come into the buffet, although I'd like to see that. What it actually refers to is food that just makes a second appearance. See, let's say you have dinner service, and then all of the 10 servings of food that you have in the warmer in the back just weren't served that night. What are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to put it out again. And usually you'll put it out the next day at lunch. And if you haven't put it out the next day at lunch, you're going to make something else out of it. I don't know if you've ever been to a buffet and seen something strange like shredded turkey tacos or something like that, but that's generally because they had a lot of turkey left over from the day before. They shredded it up, seasoned it, put it on the buffet line as like turkey tacos. Another thing that happens a lot actually are things like chicken salad. Chicken salad is sometimes made with leftover chicken breast or rotisserie chickens they might have left over from dinner service the day before. That's just one of those things that keeps prices down for the buffet. So keep in mind the next time you go to a buffet, you might be eating zombie food. It's kind of cool. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at 9 shocking secrets of all-you-can-eat buffets. I'm Shawn, editor at screwymonkey.com. I really want to thank you for watching all the way to the end. I'm also going to ask you at this point to please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So if you look at your subscribe button down there and it's not whited out or it's red, that means you're not subscribed. Go ahead and click it because you're not going to want to miss what we have coming up for you soon here on the channel. The other thing you can do too is next to the subscribe button, if you're subscribed, you can click there and get notifications. That way, when we post a video, you'll be one of the first people to know. Also, I'd like to invite you to stop by screwymonkey.com. We post articles that go with every single thing here on YouTube and tons more. There's all kinds of content there. It's all pretty cool and definitely worth checking out. Thank you so much for watching again. I hope to see you again really soon. Join us as we celebrate human culture one screwy monkey at a time.